Hey everybody, John Ramdeen and Robin Black chatting about the UFC on Fox. And this weekend in Sacramento, California, the last fight for Uriah Faber. A sensational battle as Alan Jouban takes on the undefeated Mike Platinum Perry. I love these type of fight cards. Whenever it's on network TV, the UFC putting forth some of their best action fighters, we are going to get a hell of a show at 170 pounds.
This fight is pretty ugly. And I mean that. You know, Alan Jouban, yeah, he's handsome, he's a model, but I don't just mean that he's pretty in his sort of physical nature. He fights pretty. It's a very smooth, very beautiful style. It's optimized. It gets better all the time. The skills are smooth and the grooves are greased. It's a pretty style. And then Mike Perry's ugly, man. And I mean that in a with a lot of admiration. To that last fight of his, I don't know, in the 14th and a half minute, I have a lisp, I don't know if you noticed. In the 14th and a half minute, this guy has knocked out every single guy he's got in there with, and he can do it right down to the wire. There's also sort of an ugly nature to the way him and his corner and his team view combat. Pretty ugly, this one.
The one thing, when you look at, because I believe that he is a prospect that we need to keep our eyes on, as long as, because we're watching these fighters grow, you hope that they solve whatever problems occur in their fighting life, they solve those to make sure that they remain healthy throughout their mixed martial arts career. We saw the defensive liabilities of Mike Perry in his last fight. As when he progresses in mixed martial arts, the competition is going to be better. They're going to see all the holes, and they're going to be able to inflict a lot of damage. Alan Jouban is one of those guys that can inflict that type of damage. If you do not defend yourself, he will hurt you, and he'll hurt you upstairs.
When Mike Perry's fighting, you know, there's like death metal playing in his head. You know, just heavy, like it's noisy and it's intense. And Jouban has to fight him with just a very relaxed theme song kind of in there. Nice rhythm, simple beat. Don't get drawn into the noise. Don't get drawn into the crazy, and go in there and do what you wanted to do. Mike Perry's an interesting guy. There's a real authenticity to it.
Yeah.
And authenticity is something we're drawn to. There have been moments where they've said and done things outside of fighting where you've seen some concern. It's like, man, just don't be like a public racist or something, because we can't really get behind you if you do that. But then you hear, when those things have popped up, you hear a real authenticity to the way that they honestly address those kinds of things. And you get the feeling you just got some real dudes who don't really have that dark negative vibe to them that seems to come out, that their view, the way that the context with which they put combat is a very angry adversarial context. And that is a way that's worked for other people before. That is one way to view combat. I think later in life, you talk to a Michael Bisping, he found that he actually succeeded despite that angry adversarial sort of framing of combat, not because of it. So this is something that Perry and the world around him may discover, that they'll become even better when they get rid of a little bit of sort of created hate that you have for your opponent.
No matter what, you're going to grow every time you step inside of the octagon. Where do you anticipate Mike Perry will grow over the next number of years? Still young, you know, this will be his 10th fight in mixed martial arts. Midway through his 20s, he has an opportunity to become, you know, a marquee fighter for the UFC. If he continues to fight the way that he's been fighting, he can continue to take the damage that he's been taking, and he understands how to sell himself.
There's different schools of thought in growth and how to get better at things. And one is, look at your weaknesses and improve them. And the other one is, fuck your weaknesses, play to your strengths. And that's been the Mike Perry game so far. Giant hooks to close the distance. My chin is tougher than your chin. I want it more than you want it. Big power, delivering, creating even more power from his hips. A willingness to take it, to give it, and a knowledge that you'll go down. This dude has played to his strengths so far, and I think he'll keep doing that as long as he keeps knocking fools out. And it's going to be really fun to watch. But Alan Jouban can absolutely positively win this fight. If he goes in there with the knowledge and belief that he is the more skilled of the two, and he doesn't fear the power. If he fears the power and starts moving away from it, that's when Mike Perry's strengths become super strengths, and he just hunts you down. So Alan Jouban has to go in there, not hear the heavy metal, just hear the soft music, and move side to side, not fear the power, invite the power, make it miss, and use that drive forward to deliver even more on.
Couple of questions. When you think about Alan Jouban's chin, will he be able to take it if Mike Perry dishes it out? If you compare the fight with Cub Swanson, we saw that Du Ho Choi could take it when you needed to be in the fire, could you handle it and move forward? If Alan Jouban is in that same type of situation, can he handle that type of damage?
That's a really interesting question, because yours and mine and our viewers and everybody else's opinion of that is absolutely irrelevant. What is irrelevant is Alan Jouban's opinion of that. And the reason that's relevant is because if he doubts it, he'll fight with fear, and you cannot fight Mike Platinum Perry with fear. You have to fight Mike Platinum Perry with the absence of fear. And that sounds really difficult to every single one of us, but Alan Jouban can do it.
A tremendous fight at 170 pounds. Mike Perry takes on Alan Jouban.